Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and if you haven't already, give us a thumbs up and subscribe to Cars and Couches to join the Couch Gang. And today we're going to be talking about the top 3 hatches for under $40,000. Now, I know it says under $40,000, but what we're going to do is we're going to throw in some variants of those hatches, because sometimes even if it's priced over $40K, you can talk it down, of course we're talking brand new, you could talk it down to under $40,000. So I'm going to just throw those into this conversation, So I'm gonna do this by threes, okay? So what that means is the first time I'm gonna go over the best, the worst, at least in my opinion, when it comes to performance. Second option is gonna be comfort, and the third is gonna be price, right? So which ones will you most likely be able to find for less, right? And I could be wrong, so just, do your own research, get in there, right? Take these cars, just go research online. Things may change by the time I make this video. A week later, you might see one of these cars get really cheap, or vice versa. So it all depends on when you're looking for the car. So the first way we're going to go about this is by performance, right? So by performance, these are the 3 hatches for under 40,000, right? So I'm going to start with the Honda Civic, right? Because the Type R is MSRP'd sometimes, it's MSRP'd under 40. So I'm starting with the Honda Civic Type R. You have the best performance when it comes to track performance, right? I'm not talking about straight line. I'm not talking about after modification. I'm just talking about straight out the factory, put it on a track. How well does it do, right? So I'm gonna put the Honda Civic Type R at the top there, because even though they're marked up, you can still sometimes find them at MSRP, and you can still find them, for a pretty decent deal. And if not, if you do get an SI, the performance is still pretty good, but it's also a great car, and it's a good deal. So the first, performance-wise, I'm gonna put the Honda Civic Type R up there. What makes this car really good in terms of performance is just the care that the engineers put into making this car good on the track. And when we're talking performance, we're talking about strictly track-oriented performance, right? I'm not talking about long-distance trips. That would fall under comfort for me, right? So we're just talking about strictly performance on the track, anywhere you may go out of the factory, right? So the first place, Honda Civic Type R takes that. Second place, I would put the Golf. So I'm talking about the 2022, either GTI or R, but let's just talk about the R. So we're talking about Rs right now. Because you could, I know the MSRP will go up on the new Golfs 2022, but you could find the 2022 at some point, even new, for lower 40s and talk it down to under 40, right? So that's what I did actually. My Golf sticker was like 42 or 43, and I ended up getting it for 38, or getting that sticker price down to 38 from 42. So I got a good deal on it, and you may be able to do that too in the future. So I'm including the Golf R, and I think that takes the second place because the new Golf R is rumored to have around 330 horsepower, and all-wheel drive. So that's going to be quite a performer, and that is just what they're rumored. What they're rumored to have. Well, not rumored, but what it's said to have. But, as you know, Volkswagen always throws those numbers out there. My car, it said, it's 282, I think, horsepower. But then when I dynoed it, that was at the wheels. It wasn't at the crank. So this 330, I think somebody already dynoed it, and it put out 350 to the wheels, or 330. So it's almost like they're giving you wheel horsepower. So these cars are going to perform pretty good. So I would put second place there, the 22 Golf R, or even the GTI. It's going to have 245 horses. It's going to put it down really well. That's one thing about German engineering, is they put down that power and the car works really well, especially with the GSG transmission. It does amazing things. I have the manual. I love manual, but the DSG is also an amazing transmission, and you can really get on it. And again, we're talking stock here, right? And in third place, I actually, and this is weird for me, I would put the Hyundai Veloster N. And I've never been a Hyundai fan, but after driving a lot of them, I really just noticed that they're pretty good cars, and they're reliable for the most part. So it's a really good combination. And the Veloster N, especially the 2022, is going to be putting out about 300 horsepower and 311 torque out of these are all 2 liters, so 4-cylinder turbos. So that's really good numbers, right? And I don't know weight-wise, but I'm pretty sure the Veloster N is going to be the lightest of the 3, or maybe the Civic, but definitely both. The Veloster N will be lighter than the GTI, I think, and lighter than the R. So the Veloster N is going to perform really well, and it has a good amount of horses. But, I did put the Golf R above just because you get that all-wheel drive, and in situations where the Veloster N may not do as well, that R might beat it. So I would still put, especially in I would think like a dig straight line performance, the R is going to take it. Again, track, right? So with stock tires, I'm not talking about, putting drag tires on the Veloster and perfect launch on sticky. And, I'm talking about straight up, get the car from factory, go to a track, drag strip or normal track, and just, race the car and see how it does. So the order again is first place, the Honda Civic Type R, second, the Golf R, and third, the Hyundai Veloster N. All 3 of these cars are great picks in terms of performance. But I would have to give, again, the number 1 place to the Civic Type R in this scenario, in the performance scenario. So now we're going to move on to talking about comfort. And this is really different now, right? So in first place at comfort, I would definitely 100% put the Golf. No matter, GTI, R, doesn't matter. The Golf is going to have an overall, I think, better quality interior from what my experience is. It's going to have, it's going to just feel more comfortable. It's going to just, there's so much into that car that's just revolving around you having a comfortable ride. My car is amazing. And, it's got the active headlights where when I turn it, it shines that way, and it's just amazing. It's got heated seats. It's got every feature that you could ever want. And I know the Honda and the Hyundai both have comfort, but it's not to the level of the Golf. Now in second place here, it's a tight second place. So I don't even know if I want to do second and third at this point, because both the Veloster and the Civic have very, very similar comfort ranges. But I do have to say that maybe because the Civic is a little bigger, it might just be slightly more comfortable than the Veloster N. So I would say the second is the Civic and the third is the Veloster in terms of comfort. So all really nice cars in terms of comfort. Now the third ranking will be price, and this is very important because under 40, but what are we talking here? 30 to 40, 20 to 30, what price ranges are we looking at? So now, in terms of price, you're gonna get the best bang for your buck out of the Hyundai Veloster N, because you're still gonna be able to, it's still gonna be relatively cheap and compared to the other 2, right? You might not get the best performance or the best comfort, but you will get some of the top in terms of hot hatches, at least available in the United States. Again, this is just United States hot hatches. I should have mentioned that at the beginning. Maybe I'll put some, I'll probably put a text saying that. But yeah, back to price, right? Veloster N is going to be your best bang for your buck, right? Best buck per horse, whatever you want to call it. And in second place, I would say the Honda Civic Type R, because you're most likely MSRP will be under 40, or pretty close to being under 40, and you're getting a lot of car for the money, a lot of horse for the buck, and it's and honestly, if we're talking about pricing, you can you can go down a rabbit hole on the Golfs, right? You can price out a GTI that gets really expensive or an R that gets super expensive. So at the base price, I guess you get a lot out of your Honda Civic Type R. It's a very close match though to a base Golf R in terms of what you get. The Golf R, you get a lot more, right? So even though you might be paying a little more. So I guess the close second would be between the Civic Type R and the Golf, but definitely I'd say first would be the Hyundai Veloster N, second would be the Honda Civic Type R, and third would be the Golf R or even GTI. Great price for the horsepower, amazing, right? So that's my ranking in terms of price. Now overall, right, like personally, what I would be looking for is good performance, huge comfort, and then affordable price. So if I was presented with 40,000, what would I buy? Well, I was already doing that, right? I got the Golf R. The reason why I got the Golf R is because the comfort is just so, there's just such a large difference in comfort that the performance difference, it doesn't matter, right? Like stock per stock, plus I did stuff to the Golf, but stock for stock, like I'd rather have that Golf R with the abundant comfort over the Civic Type R, right? But again, we'll have to see how the 2022s drive. I have never driven one, so I don't really know. We'll see. I mean, next time I get a car, I'll probably have to think about hot hatches again, but maybe I'll end up getting something like, sedan-y. Maybe I'll get an S4 or something like that, or a BMW 340. But I would say in terms of objective ranking of these three cars with how the 2022 models look, I would still put the Golf R at the top. Second place, I would put the Civic Type R, a close second again. Just because I don't go to the track that often to even care about that slight difference in performance when it comes to, not straight line, but, going around a track. And then the third, I would put the Hyundai Veloster N. But again, the Veloster N, if you cannot, if you can't swing that extra cash, you can get the Veloster N. I mean, the Veloster N could rise up the ranks, right? But if you're saying here's 40,000, buy one of these three, you could also say, oh, here's the cash, I buy an N and modify it for all that. But I'm just talking about stock for stock, 40,000 or under, and maybe negotiable under 40,000. So those are my rankings. And I hope this video is useful to you and you guys can maybe go out there and get yourself one of these three cars in the future and be happy. Of course, this is, again, just my opinion on these three cars. I am not an expert by any means. I'm just a car enthusiast like you guys, sharing my thoughts. So if you guys like the video, give us a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button and share to join the Couch Gang. And I'll catch you guys later.